leaving the village of Es. We are now back on the bus and we're heading towards Nice, France. Arriving into Nice, our tour guide is explaining to us that there is a pedestrian zone that where it runs along the beach line and cars are not allowed except for delivery trucks, making this avenue a very popular walkway. Here, tourists can find a fine selection of restaurants specializing in French, Italian, and Spanish cuisine. There is also a large variety of cafes where you can sit and have an espresso, baked goods, cakes while sitting out on a terrace. There are plenty of small shops selling clothing, shoes, and souvenirs. We are just arriving, and the city is absolutely gorgeous, very, very pretty. There are 40,000 people that live here in Nice. As we enter the older part of the city, our tour guide explains why it looks more Italian than it does French.
At that time, Nice was part of Italy. And this is why when you look around the port, the architecture, the colors, that church, they look like the style you would see in Italy, especially the arcades on the ground floor to protect people from the sun, and also the colors, pink, green, yellow, so this is more Italian, so this is when Nice was part of Italy.
She goes on to tell us about how Nice was built in districts according to your nationality.
Cover a little north where the Russian families were staying, so they were almost all having their district. And as they were coming for several months, they wanted to continue to live the same way they were living in their countries. So for the architecture, for example, they were using the same architecture they had in their countries. It was the same for the food. They brought the cook with them and all the people working for them, and also for the religious buildings. And here's the church.
We can see the top of St. Nicholas Orthodox Cathedral. It is an absolutely beautiful Russian Orthodox church.
And you can see that we were having nice villas or nice hotels on the top of Nice where they could have a nice view of the sea. As people were coming in the winter, they didn't really want to be too close to the sea like today. So many were living on the hills, and that's why we still have very extensive districts for Nice. So in the old Nice, you will see there is a nice food market.
We are heading down towards a food market going through the small streets of Nice. We are going to be visiting the market. It is probably one of the most traditional squares in the town. Arriving at the market, there are many different little stands with flowers and vegetables and handmade and canned goods. Both sides of the market are lined with cafes. We head back up towards our bus and prepare to leave the city. The French Riviera. We're on our way back to Monaco, and we have just left the city of Nice. It really is quite gorgeous. Look at this boat down here with the slide. That certainly is something that I'm going to add to my yacht. Oh, there goes a person. How cute. Oh, and another one. As soon as I start zooming out, they go again. How fun. It's got to be a really hard life living on a yacht in the French Riviera. Let's take a look at the water down here. It's really clear. Look how clear that is. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that gorgeous? We are arriving back to Monaco from our short excursion to S and Nice. Now we'll get back on the ship. I came out on deck to take some last pictures of Monaco, and it's very, very windy outside. I wanted to just kind of get some pictures of the whole city and the terrain just before we pull out of port. Remember what our tour guide said about the houses being halfway up the hill. Those houses are in France. We totally enjoyed our day in Monaco, and especially our short excursion, which was called Nice and S. It was supposed to be a 4.5-hour tour, and I think it took us probably 5.5 hours to do it.